It's never easy to admit that you or someone you care about is addicted to alcohol or drugs. But once you recognize the problem, the first step down the road to recovery is to find professional help. And for more than 30 years, our Next Guest's programs have been successfully treating alcohol and drug addiction through treatment that is both effective and affordable. Dr. Michael Wilkerson is Medical Director for Bradford Health Services, and we welcome him to the program right now. Dr. Wilkerson, welcome.
Thank you.
Dr. Wilkerson, let's talk about the nature of addiction. What should we know, and what are some common misconceptions?
Addiction is a medical illness that affects between 10 to 15% of the population. Addiction has characteristic signs and symptoms that can lead to various medical conditions, including death. That's the bad news. The good news is there's been significant advances in treating addiction that are very effective. Unfortunately, addiction is often viewed as a moral or ethical issue and not a medical one. Researchers have identified the areas in the brain that function differently in addicts versus people who aren't addicts. Thus, addiction is a brain disorder, not a moral issue. It is also important to remember addiction is a chronic disease just like high blood pressure and diabetes. Therefore, ongoing care is important for best results.
Now, I understand that there's been an increase in the opiate epidemic. Tell us about that.
Over the last 10 years, there has been a significant increase in the incidence of addiction to prescription opiates. Prescription opiates, including OxyContin, oxycodone, and hydrocodone, are prescribed extensively to help with acute and chronic pain. However, these medications also are very addictive in certain people. Addiction can occur via recreational use, but can also occur in people who were originally prescribed them for pain. Addiction to these agents can progress to injectable use, including the use of heroin. Therefore, these individuals are at higher risk for death from overdose. Although recovery from opiate addiction can be very problematic, effective treatments are available and can be life-saving.
Now, even with the progress we've made, addiction is a difficult subject to talk about openly in today's culture. Why is that?
Addiction is a word that has a stigma attached to it. This makes it a subject that many feel uncomfortable talking about. An addict is viewed as a bad person and not a sick one. Unfortunately, these views interfere with the recognition and effective treatment for addiction. Education to correct these views is important to make sure those suffering from the disease of addiction get the help they need to battle this deadly disease.
Well, Doctor, where can we get more information about Bradford Health Services?
Information regarding the resources available at Bradford Health Services can be found on the internet at bradfordhealth.com or by calling 1-800-333-1865.
Dr. Wilkerson, this is truly important work you're doing. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Thank you.
Learn more about Bradford Health Services at bradfordhealth.com.